Hey family, so I really didn't think one of my first videos was going to be about this topic, but instead of trying to stick to a scheduled format, I just want to speak from my heart and what's pulling on my spirit. Last week, I shared a post about a beautiful little girl who had gone missing, and of course, we prayed for safe returns. And recently, it's been said that she's been deceased for about a month now, and the people who are being charged with it are her parents. They are saying that her mother is the one that committed the crime, um, and then later threw her body in a lake. They are saying that the mother only filed the missing persons report because she was getting ready to go into labor. So in order to kind of justify her daughter not being around and to go to a hospital, she decided to file that missing report. Taken a lot for me to process because the little girl was just so beautiful, so innocent. But of course, I'm thinking about, those last moments. I can't imagine what she endured until her life was taken. But then I'm also thinking about the mom, and was it just pure evil that caused her to commit this act? Did she snap? Had she been on the edge for some time? What really happened? And it got me thinking about, this channel and how I'm talking about the journey of IVF. But a part of the journey is preparing. It's not just a keeping your mind right. Yes, you have to have your finances right when raising a child, but preparing also making sure that you are emotionally regulated to be in charge of another human being. It's not just about, oh, I have the room all set up very nicely. It's not just about that wish list and that the baby shower registry being just perfect and you getting all the gifts that you will need to make sure that your baby enters this world prepared to be loved on, and that you guys aren't taken by surprise about something that you guys didn't think you would need. That stuff is really cute. But you have to talk about the importance of being able to handle being in charge of another life. And it got me thinking about my maternity classes that I took, which were absolutely whack, y'all. I only remember one thing, and that was how to swaddle a baby, how to take a blanket and swaddle it so a baby is wrapped up just so perfectly. And guess what? My son ended up not wanting to be swaddled at all. He barely liked blankets. I remember wrapping him up so tight and come back to look at him, and his arms is out, his legs are out. And they actually sell the swaddles itself, so you just snap it. You don't have to kind of be even like frustrated with trying to wrap it, correctly. But it never worked for him. So much so I used to call him the Wiggler because he would always wiggle out of the blanket. But that's the only thing I remember about those classes. Oh, and the bouncy ball, sitting on the ball, which had nothing to do with me because my labor was induced, which didn't even work. So that it was just a waste, y'all. But I started thinking, how come child safety is not talked about in these classes? I have to fix that, because we have to prepare parents to make sure they don't end up doing something in the heat of the moment that could change their lives forever. Now the little girl is taken. Now the mother and the father's life is taken. Now the new baby's life is going to be completely different than it ever was because she was not prepared. And it got me thinking about that village that I like to mention. It's so important to be able to have people that you can call on when you are breaking or when you're close to breaking. I recently watched a video of a young woman saying that she was on the phone talking to her best friend, and instantly the best friend could tell by her voice that she needed to come over, and just showed up and just helped her. Whew. Can you imagine how much of a big deal that is? Because so many of us can't even articulate the help that we might need, or if we do need help, we might be embarrassed. I'm ashamed. This should be easier for me. And just by the sound of her voice, her best friend showed up. Her village showed up. And recently, I myself had to assess my circle and kind of not have people so high up there like I had them before, because I'd rather know who I really have than think I have people that I don't have just for number purposes. You know what I mean? It's better to know that. It's like with clothes. You can have a closet filled with stuff, but if you can only fit 10% of it, get rid of that other mess, and buy yourself some stuff you can actually utilize. And it's like that with people. It's a hard pill to swallow as far as finding out who's actually there for you and who won't be there for you, but you better know who you have to help you. And I always talk about women being able to take care of things for themselves, but we are only human and we do need support. I thought about, well, actually, I'm in the middle of potty training my son, and they said the reason that the woman beat her daughter to death was because she peed the bed. Yeah, it really hit home again because I'm potty training my son. It is an interesting task, and I don't know how we don't have a surviving potty training documentary out. Okay, I might do that too. It is super frustrating, especially if you're the main person doing it. Today, my son did a good job. He sat on the potty, but he peed outside the potty. So I had to, before I could clean it up, my son took his brand new socks and just stepped all over the pee while still being on the pot. That's the part of this parenting journey, things not going as planned almost all the time. And right now he's crying, probably because he's getting changed and hates to be changed. But it's stressful. It is stressful keeping the perspective of it's just clothes, it's just the floor, it's just a carpet, it's just an outfit. I have a cover to my couch in case he spills things, and now it's in case he goes to the bathroom because we're in the middle of potty training, and I'm glad I have it on there. But that's an example how you're trying to get ahead of the things that can make you extra upset, right? And so I thought about when I was in the middle of my divorce and I was washing dishes. I had just kind of got some bad news. And the funny thing about bad news is it always feels like it's so urgent, but I can't even remember why I was so upset. But that phone call really made me so upset. And I was trying to calm down. My to-do list was a mile long. The paperwork involved was just ridiculous. And I was like, one more thing I have to do. How am I going to pull this off? And I was so overwhelmed. And I remember my son coming up to me because I have flashcards everywhere, you guys, and he was really stuck on the letter A. And so he picked up the flashcard A, came to me, because every time he finds a flashcard he recognizes, he wants you to repeat it to affirm that he's on the right track, right? So he came up to me with the flashcard and he's like, A. And he stands there waiting for me to respond back A to him. And I go, I really just pause. And I say to myself, this can go one or two ways. I can find a way to muster up and A back to my son in that moment. Or I can lash out to this little baby who was still 1 year old, and ask him, you know, what does he want? Can he see I'm tired? Can he see I'm stressed? Can he see that I'm sad? And tell him to get away from me, or at the very least be kind of cold, and then confuse my baby who's going to be like, why is my mommy acting like that with me? That's weird because we do this all the time. I had enough in me to just tell him A, and that was enough. And he hopped right back along into the other room. But yeah, in being a parent, sometimes you will have to be two people. One that's dealing with real life, real heartbreak, real frustrations, real bills, and real disappointment, and then be able to not take it out on your child. I'm so glad now we're talking about mental health more in society, because I do feel like that's a conversation that needs to be really encouraged to have more often, especially with doctors and things like that. I know they do their best with the screenings from 1 to 5. Are you sad? Are you this? Are you that? Some people really don't even feel comfortable with their doctor to really share how they feel. Definitely to prevent something like this happening to any one of our children. Like they tell couples, walk away. Walk away. It's not worth the few seconds of knocking somebody out, throwing somebody around. Walk away. Secondly, practice deep breathing. I started doing deep breathing when I was trying to regulate my nervous system after my miscarriage, and I realized that a lot of us are always in fight or flight mode, right? Deep breathing really helped me. It will definitely pause whatever you're in the middle of doing, okay? So you can't move forward with what that might have led to just because you decided to and do that. Do that for a minute. Calm your behind down. Again, talk to your doctor, find a therapist. After I had my baby, so much stuff was happening. I mean, it was a car accident. It was my household dynamics, which were horrible. Of course, postpartum, everything new. I have a career as well, have a business as well. It was a lot. I had to find a therapist because it was all hitting me at the same time. If you need medication, if you need help, share that. It's okay to need help and not to be feeling like you're always on edge or you don't know how to cope. Share your feelings with someone. And again, check that village. Assess who you have and begin to work on those relationships with people that you really need, that could really offer that support, because we can't be on an island, y'all. We can't be. And then lastly, remember that majority of life's issues, while it's hard, it doesn't really ever be nearly as hard as it seems like it is in that moment. It will pass. It will pass. I'm praying for that family. I'm praying for y'all, family minds, because I'm learning this stuff, y'all, but it's so important to be able to control your emotions. You can't believe the people that share with me incidents with their children. I had a young man that does some work for me around my house, and he said that his daughter, she's younger than my baby, had her little mug and knocked him outside his head. Blood started coming out his eye, everything. Like, oh my God, that baby did not mean to hurt her dad. My son came out rough and tough and strong, and he can jerk his head back and elbow and kick and move so quickly that you can't keep up. I've been elbow, kicked, hit, butted, you name it, unintentionally. And you have to remember in that moment that this child is not purposely trying to hurt me. You have to remember that. And that I know God is real, but I really know because my son's foot has been this close to my eye. And I've gotten really fast of ducking and bobbing and weaving to make sure he doesn't hit me. But there was one incident where he was this close to my eye and his foot just went over my head, y'all. It was a invisible element that made him go over my head, you guys. It's rough being a parent. It's rough. But let's be honest, when we feel like it's too much, it's too much. And when we start talking about this journey of preparing to be parents and how wonderful and exciting it is and how we have so much expectation for what is to come, we can also take some time to really work on ourselves and ask yourself some real questions. Am I hot-tempered? Do I insult people when I'm upset? You know, how am I dealing with situations? Am I toxic? Is my first response to put my hands on someone? Ask yourself those questions, because for some reason, our society doesn't really feel like they have to prepare people for the stress of parenthood. So it's going to be up to us to ensure that child safety is the focus, and starting with the parent being able to control their emotions and have some emotional intelligence as the adult in the room. I know it's not easy, guys, but this was a tragedy and we just really have to do better. Have a great day.